Alright, let's kick things off with the showdown everyone was waiting for, the men's 100 meters. And this wasn't just another race. This was a monumental Olympic rematch, and the tension was off the charts. Here was the setup. You had the reigning sprint king, Noah Lyles, facing off against the formidable Jamaican challenger Kishane Thompson. And these two have history. Their last major encounter at the Olympics ended in a brutal photo finish loss for Thompson. So for him, this race wasn't just about a Diamond League title. This was about revenge. The stakes were unbelievably high. This was a battle for bragging rights and psychological dominance. And from the moment the gun fired, the race belonged to one man. Kishane Thompson didn't just get a good start, he exploded out of the blocks with what can only be described as machine-like efficiency. He seized control early, powered through the drive phase, and left the entire world-class field, including Noah Lyles, fighting for scraps behind him. Thompson blazed across the finish line in a dominant 9.87 seconds, tying the meeting record down to the 100th of a second. This was sweet, undeniable revenge. Thompson had rewritten the narrative of the rivalry, and he did it in the most decisive way possible. But here's the best part. After a performance that earth-shattering, after getting his revenge on the biggest stage, what did he tell the interviewers? He just casually said, "The race went all right." An absolutely unbelievable display of power, followed by the coolest, most understated reaction of the night. Next up, the man everyone came to see, Mondo Duplantis in the men's pole vault. And when he's competing, the only real question is whether he'll break the world record. But tonight, it wasn't a perfect script. He actually needed 2 attempts to clear 6.10 meters and finally lock up the victory. It wasn't the easy first jump demolition we sometimes see. So, with the win secured, the entire stadium held its breath for the world record attempt, but it never came. Instead, he took 3 misses at 6.20 and simply called it a day. A powerful reminder that even for the greatest of all time, you can't be a world record machine every single night. All right, let's talk men's shot put. And this event turned into an absolute nightmare scenario for the heavy favorite. Here's how it went down. Italy's Leonardo Fabbri came in as the undisputed king. He'd already set a world-leading mark of 22.82 meters this season. And while the field was incredibly deep, we're talking 7 guys who had all cleared the 22-meter barrier, Fabbri was the man everyone was there to beat. But on competition day, the magic just wasn't there. Fabbri simply couldn't find his rhythm. His best throw landed at 22.10 meters. It was enough to get him second place, but it left the door wide open for a massive upset. And who sees that opportunity? Peyton Otterdahl from the USA. In the 5th round, Otterdahl unleashed a monster throw that sailed an incredible 22.28 meters. That was it. A stunning victory and a complete shocker. This also marked Otterdahl's second career Diamond League win. Long story short, with their huge performances, Otterdahl, Joe Kovacs, and Rajendra Campbell all officially punched their tickets to the Diamond League final in Zurich. Okay, let's head to the women's 400 meters, and this was the explosive showdown everyone was waiting for. Here was the setup. You had the world leader, Salwa Eid Nasser, facing off against the incredibly fast Marilady Paulino. These were the 2 fastest women of the season, and this was set to be an absolute battle. And right from the gun, it looked like Nasser was going to make it a short story. She erupted from the blocks, immediately taking command and building a huge lead. As she rounded the final bend, the race looked like it was completely over. Done deal. But then came the final 100 meters. Marilady Paulino just flipped a switch. She unleashed a brutal, relentless charge, hunting down the leader with every single stride. You could see Nasser starting to tie up, and Paulino just blew past her in the final moments to snatch the win. It was an unbelievable comeback, and here's the crazy part. This is the second time in recent weeks she's pulled off a dig-deep victory like this. It's basically becoming her signature move. And while all eyes were on the top two, Norway's Henriette Jager ran a brilliant race, grabbing a surprise third-place finish and turning a two-woman duel into an unforgettable podium battle. Women's long jump, where the absence of the world leader left the door wide open. So, who seized the moment? American Jasmine Moore. And she didn't just win, she dominated. On one of her early attempts, she unleashed a massive 6.85-meter leap. To put that in perspective, the old meeting record was 6.51. Moore didn't just beat it, she completely obliterated it. Basically, that one jump was all it took. None of the other pre-competition favorites could even come close. A dominant win for Moore. And with that, the top three officially punched their tickets to the Zurich final. Okay, on to the women's 100-meter hurdles, and this was a story of pure redemption. In the heats, all eyes were on Nadine Visser, who shattered the meeting record and looked like the unbeatable favorite. Meanwhile, reigning Olympic champ Masai actually lost her heat, but in the final, Russell put on an absolute clinic. She stormed to the finish in a mind-blowing 12.19 seconds. That's a new Diamond League record and the third fastest time in history. And here's the kicker. For the decorated Olympic champion, this was her first ever Diamond League win. Just incredible. The early favorites just couldn't match that brutal pace in the final. Women's 1500 meters, which was basically the Gudaf Tsegay show. From the gun, Ethiopia's Tsegay went straight to the front and set a brutal pace. Her strategy was simple: dare anyone to keep up. And no one could, not even close. She cruised to victory in a blistering 350.62, completely smashing the meeting record. But here's the insane part. She won by 4 full seconds. In a world-class 1500, that is an absolute demolition. She turned the race into her own personal time trial. Behind her, 5,000-meter world record holder Beatrice ran a massive personal best for second, showing off her incredible range. There are dominant athletes, and then there is Femke Bull. In the women's 400-meter hurdles, she simply ran in a league of her own, clocking a blistering 51.91. That's a new world lead and a new meeting record. But here are the two numbers that tell the real story. First, this was her 29th consecutive Diamond League win. Second, the runner-up finished almost 2 full seconds behind her. That's not just a victory, that's pure demolition. Things got wild over at the men's high jump, and it started with a complete bombshell. The reigning Olympic champion Gianmarco Tamberi, he crashed out at a ridiculously low 2.14 meters. Just like that, one of the sport's biggest stars was out and the competition was blown wide open. Stepping into that void was New Zealand's Hamish Kerr, who put on a jumping masterclass. It all came down to his third and final attempt at a towering 2.33 meters. This was it, do or die. And he nailed it. A perfect clutch clearance under maximum pressure to seal the victory. That performance books his ticket to the Zurich final, with USA's Juvan Harrison grabbing a solid second place. The men's 1500 was all about high-stakes drama for one athlete, American Yared Nuguse. Here was the situation. Nuguse desperately needed a big result to earn points for World Championship qualification. His season was basically on the line. The race wasn't about a fast time, it was a cagey tactical battle. It all came down to a brutal kick in the final stretch. And in a hard-fought finish, Nuguse held off the pack to grab the win. A massive, massive victory that was absolutely critical for keeping his championship hopes alive. In the women's 200 meters, all eyes were on Jamaican icon Shericka Jackson, but American Brittany Brown had other plans. She pushed Jackson to the absolute limit, matching her stride for stride and turning the race into a brutal dogfight. But in those final, decisive meters, Jackson showed why she's a champion. She found another gear and pulled away to snatch the victory. The clock tells you how close it was. Jackson finished in a season's best 22.17, just 0.04 of a second ahead of Brown.
In the men's 400-meter hurdles, running from lane 8, the Norwegian phenom put on an absolute demolition. He attacked the race with his signature all-out aggression, turning a world-class final into a one-man show. The result? A mind-blowing 46.28. That's a new Diamond League record, a world lead, and a meeting record all in one go.
The women's 100 meters delivered a story of pure dominance and major disappointment. Let's start with the dominance. World leader Melissa Jefferson-Wooden was simply untouchable. She stormed to a 10.66 victory, tying the meeting record and making it look easy. It was a perfect full-circle moment, winning at the same venue where her pro career began. And the disappointment? That belonged to Sha'Carri Richardson, the star attraction who's been making headlines for more than just her running lately, had a night to forget. She struggled from the start and faded to a distant 6th place. A huge win for the world leader and a rough night for one of the sport's biggest names.
And the men's javelin, which gave us a fantastic comeback story. Kenya's Julius Yego grabbed the win with a modest throw of 83.60 meters. But here's the incredible part. This was his first Diamond League victory in 8 years. A huge moment for him, even in a competition with underwhelming results.
But the action didn't stop with the main Diamond League events. Here are a few more unbelievable performances you absolutely need to know about. Cordell Tench blasted a 13.03 in the men's 110-meter hurdles to equal the meeting record. Next, Keely Hodgkinson. After a season frustrated by injury, she made her comeback in the most dominant way possible, winning the women's 800 meters with a new world lead. That's a statement. And finally, the machine herself, Faith Kipyegon. She went on a solo chase for the 3,000-meter world record. And while she missed it by a hair, her consolation prize was a new Diamond League record, a new African record, and a new meeting record. Thanks for watching.